Hello everyone, very good afternoon. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the November month current affairs revision class with me. I am Saumya and like every day we meet for the Hindu newspaper analysis. Today we shall be meeting to look at everything that we have been discussing in the month of November because every month after covering the newspaper, covering the Hindu and talking and interacting about various current affairs, it is always in the first 2 or 3 days of a new month that we look back at the previous month and then do a quick UPSC exam analysis of all the current affairs. What's the idea? The idea, of course, is revision, but more than revision, remembering and recalling. Because so far, no matter which student I am talking to, there is one doubt that's common to each one of them, and they all say that, ma'am, learning current affairs is interesting, remembering them is not. So the idea behind these classes is to make them absolutely, you can say, saturated in your mind, to create a situation by repetitive exposure that you will not forget any of these current events, especially if you are writing the exam in 2026 prelims. Okay, so welcome everyone, and we have Terukula, we have Neelam, we have Aspirant. A very good afternoon each one of you. I'm so happy that you could make it. I hope other aspirants keep joining. A very good afternoon, Lenny. I'm meeting Lenny after quite some time. Welcome to the class. So now, very good afternoon, Diptesh. So happy to see you full it. Okay, so now let me start with the first news event. It will be like a revision exercise. Let's read all of them, identify, analyze all of them. But in the end, I will also give you some practice questions, okay? So let's do them. Because we keep doing them, but it's a good idea to do practice questions just to make sure, we know it properly or we don't know. Should you have any doubts, please keep asking. Your comments are always welcome to me. Very good afternoon, Shikha. So as other aspirants keep joining, let's quickly pick up with the first event for the day. So November started with a lot of international relations development. I always tell my students September was about GS paper 3. Many developments in science and technology defense happened. October was solely focused on polity and governance GS paper 2. November is again about GS paper 2 because the paper was full of international relations. India's foreign policy was ultimately tested in November month. Why? Let us see which developments have taken place. Good afternoon, Ravi. So the first event of the day that's coming from the first 2 days of November, 1st November, 2nd November, was about United Nations Peacebuilding Commission. There was an article in the Hindu which you and I have spoken about where the writer was mentioning in the editorial page that the United Nations Peacebuilding Commission is a body that was established in 2005. How? By a resolution of United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Security Council. It is an intergovernmental advisory body, I repeat, advisory body that supports peace efforts in conflict-affected areas. And it also tries to build peace and harmony in the world through participation of international community. That's the idea behind United Nations Peacebuilding Commission. But it was in the news because people are criticizing this body today. People feel this body has not been able to do anything to prevent either the Sudan war or the Israel-Palestine war, or for that matter, the instability and deprivation in Gaza, Russia-Ukraine war. Practically, the body has not fulfilled its purpose, and therefore in the Hindu newspaper, the writer of the article was constantly saying, let's replace this body of 2005 by a new body that should be known as the Body for Peace and Sustainable Security. Rather, the Board of Peace and Sustainable Security. And this new board should be a democratic one. It should be represented by countries like Africa, Latin America and Asia, because currently United Nations Security Council is only dominated by 5 nations, the P5 countries. And there is hardly any representation from the global south. And that's why in the newspaper we clearly studied that UN Peacebuilding Commission is now a body that is outdated. It has not been able to control global insecurity and war. Let's change it. Let's replace it by a board of peace and sustainable security. That should be a democratic forum in which various global south countries can find a representation. And now let's remember the existing body. United Nations Peacebuilding Commission is a body of 31 member states. Generally, they are elected from the General Assembly and they are elected from the Security Council plus the Economic and Social Council. It also makes sure that all the rich countries of the world right now, they are always allowed to make contributions here. The top financially contributing countries here and the top troop-keeping countries here to the United Nations system also have a right to become a member of this body. And on that note, I want to ask you a question. Which country has the largest contribution to United Nations peacekeeping troop? I am not asking finance, I am saying UN peacekeeping troop. Very good afternoon, Priyanshu. So can anybody answer my question? Good afternoon, Eric. Welcome. Can anybody answer my question then? At least the morning batch should know. The Hindu newspaper batch will know it. Which is the largest troop contributing country to United Nations peacekeeping forces? Which is that country? Quickly, very, very good, Terukula. Yes, it's India. Absolutely. Is that clear, Shikha? Diptesh? It is India. Very well answered. It is India, and that's a matter of pride. At a situation where countries like America have stopped and reduced their funding to United Nations peacekeeping forces, it is a country like India that's not only the voice of the global south, but it is also the largest contributor to UN peacekeeping force. Brilliantly answered, everyone. Thank you, Diptesh, Shikha, Utkarsh and Priyanshu, Eric. Very good. That was correct. So from this article, from this news, what all have we learnt? What all have we learnt? We have learned 2-3 things. India is the largest troop contributing country. Yes, Fulit. Second, what have we learnt? Today, people are criticizing United Nations Peacebuilding Commission, UNPBC, for being a body that doesn't solve any purpose. When was it created? 2005. What was the purpose? To control conflicts across the world and to maintain peacekeeping force. Could it do its purpose? No, it could not. It's heavily dominated by United Nations Security Council and General Assembly. It doesn't have much representation from the global south, but unfortunately, most of the conflicts are happening in the global south. So therefore, the purpose is not solved. And now we are requesting that rather than only the top financial contributors being the member, let's create a new body that should be called as Board of Peace and Sustainable Security, which can see membership from global south, Latin America, India, Asia in general and Africa, so that we can have a much more dedicated body. That's it for the first news. Do remember all the facts that we have studied. I will repeat that soon. Okay, next we spoke about the New START Treaty. Do you remember we spoke about the New START Treaty? Which two countries am I talking about? I'm talking about Russia and US here, yes? We all know that international relations is an evolving discipline. Today in the morning, and as we were doing the Hindu newspaper, I had told you in one of the articles that do remember that now after ages of Cold War, after ages of ideological war, finally American President Trump is trying to win President Putin to his side because he is conscious about China-Russia growing network. What is the example of that? The biggest proof is that today he is asking Ukraine to almost surrender in the war. He is refusing Ukraine the membership of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. He is also saying Russia can keep all the territories that it has annexed, including Crimea from 2014 onwards, including Donbass. We spoke about that. We also saw a detailed map of that. Very good. Very good, Dishank Terukula. Good afternoon, Priyambada. Yes, we spoke about it. So even this treaty talks about both the countries, United States and Russia. Today they are trying to make friends with each other, but the past is very dirty, okay? The past is not very clean between them. So both these countries had in 2011 signed a treaty The treaty is called the New START Treaty. What was the objective of this treaty? Objective was to put a fixed number, to control, to curtail the number of nuclear warheads below the Cold War limit, so that both of them cannot acquire weapons of mass destruction. There has to be an upper limit to the amount of weapons, nuclear warheads that they can maintain in their countries, both Russia and US. It has to be limited to below the Cold War period. It was initially signed in 2011. Duration was for 10 years, but it was again extended in 2021 for 5 more years, which means it is now going to expire in 2026. And that's a dangerous situation, because right now this is the only binding treaty between both these superpowers, which ask them to control their total nuclear warhead count. But it is expiring now in 2026. Yes, the problem is that already Russian president has withdrawn from it, and American president is also not keen on extending the treaty anymore. Does that mean we are living in a scary world? Yes, because recently President Trump also made a shocking announcement. He said for the last 30 years, America has not tested any nuclear weapon. We haven't done any nuclear testing. But he said, we all know that China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, all these countries are doing nuclear testing. Sometimes they do a very low explosion nuclear testing so that people won't know about it. But there is enough evidence to prove that they do it. So why should America not do? And he's saying after 30 years of stopping ourselves, finally we will do nuclear tests. And that's a very dangerous precedent that he's now going to lay in front of the world. So in question is the New START Treaty. Expiry of the New START Treaty and no more extension could mean a very volatile situation. So do remember, it is the last remaining nuclear arms deal between the global giants Russia and United States of America. Okay? And initially when it was created in 2011, it had replaced an existing treaty between them that was called as the SORT Treaty. S-O-R-T, the SORT Treaty, the Treaty of Moscow. Finally, it was created for 10 years, extended for 5 years, and now next year it is going to expire. Are we trying to renew that? No. And that's a very dangerous thing to happen. What was the main objective of the New START Treaty for the last time? Let's repeat. The objective was to control the number of nuclear heads. The objective was to limit long-range weapons designed to influence the outcome of a war. The objective was also to create some kind of limit on critical infrastructure, to limit targeting centers of power and to ensure that we do a verifiable reduction in strategic arms. So that was the purpose. I do remember in the Hindu paper when we were discussing the same article, I have also spoken to you in detail about the CTBT and many other nuclear treaties like the NPT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. I also explained to you why has India not signed for that. Yes, I also told you India is one country which has maintained a voluntary moratorium on nuclear testing. What is voluntary moratorium? India has voluntarily kept a ban on nuclear testing since Pokhran 2 in 1998. We haven't done it. But now if situation becomes unstable, if Russia does, US does, North Korea is already doing, China can't be trusted. In that case, given the fact that Pakistan is a nuclear power and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have a pact between them recently called SDMA, Strategic Defense Mutual Agreement. Plus, recently America and Saudi have also signed a friendship pact. That means India may have to think about whether we want to continue with the voluntary moratorium or whether even we will have to continue our testing, even if it's for peaceful purpose. That's yet to be seen. So do not forget this situation. New START Treaty. In the prelims, if you get a question, please remember 3 facts. It is between US and Russia. It's the last remaining treaty that's binding on the both. What's the objective? Controlling nuclear warheads. To control long-range weapons which can impact or decide the outcome of war. And to prove that there is a reduction in strategic arms. When was it signed? 2011 for 10 years. After 10 years in 21, it was extended for 5 more years, but now in February 26, it's going to finally expire. It comes in the backdrop of recent announcement from President Trump. We will do nuclear testing again, and that's why there is a worry about that. So will you remember that? We can do a question on that later. Is that clear? Aspirant Fulkit, Terukula, Dishank, Priyambada, Diptesh, Shikha. Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Next news event is about APEC. APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. It was also in the news. And why was it in the news? Let me remind you. It was in the news because APEC summit had taken place in South Korea. Where in South Korea? In my last class, Terukula had reminded me. Which place was that in South Korea, where the APEC summit had taken place? So, what was that place? Can you remind me again? Can you remind us again? APEC was in the news, yes. APEC summit took place in South Korea. Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, very, very good, Terukula. Before, very good. Does anybody else know about it? Where did the summit take place in South Korea? Terukula has reminded us again. What about other aspirants? Do we know about it? Yes? Aspirant Priyanshu? Where did it happen in South Korea? Was it Busan or was it before? Think about it. Was it Busan Summit or was it before summit? Okay, Google it up and let me know please. Let's clarify it today. So APEC summit has recently happened in South Korea. Why was it in the news? I told you 5 things. Yes, Terukula. So think about it again. Confirm me so that nobody forgets in the class. I will remind this to you on Friday maybe. That's completely fine. Is it confirmed? Busan, was that the place, Diptesh? Confirm, Eric? Okay, very good. So it did happen in South Korea in a place called Busan. Thank you so much everyone for confirming. Dipesh, Terukula, Eric. Thank you dear. It was Busan in South Korea. Why was it in the news? It's called Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. 3 reasons it was in the news. Yes, Terukula. 3 reasons. First reason I told you, never ever forget that APEC is a group of economies, not countries. APEC does not recognize countries as sovereign units. It never calls its members as political identities. It always calls them as economies. What? Economies. One thing. Second fact to remember. I told you APEC is about integrating the markets of Asia Pacific. It was created back when? In 1989. It's a regional economic forum. Do not forget. It calls its members economies. It's an economic forum. It was created back in 1989. Created back in 1989, and what was the aim? To integrate. To integrate various markets for the people of this region, Asia Pacific region. It typically took place because of the Asian economic crisis that was going on. Okay, as a response to the Asian economic crisis, it was created. The idea is to promote free, inclusive, sustainable, innovative growth for all the countries in the Asia Pacific group. Yes? What are the main objectives of APEC? Trade and economic issues are the most important aspect. Trade, economic issues. The countries are called, what are the countries known as? We will come back to Busan and we will come back to Jeonju. Wait, give us 2 minutes. That's the declaration that you are talking about, the Jeonju Declaration that was created in APEC 2025, but some meetings have taken place in Busan also. So it's absolutely fine. Diptesh, it's fine. That's not a wrong answer. Okay, let's come back there. Okay, now coming back here. APEC is a group of economies created 1989. Purpose, trade, economic growth for all the countries in the region. Agreed? I asked you last time, is India a member of APEC? Is India a member of APEC? No, it's not. From 1991, India has tried to become a member of APEC, but we could not be. I gave you reasons last time. India experienced liberalization very, very late. Very good, Terukula. Yes. India experienced liberalization late. All the other countries of Asia Pacific were already liberalized. India was not given membership. India again tried in 1997. Again, India could not get membership. And from 1991, APEC has closed its membership at 21. Only 21 members. One more extra member is not allowed. There is a ban on new membership since 1991. So India is not a member. And why does it call its members as economies? Because there are places like Hong Kong and Taiwan who are also members of APEC, which are not sovereign places, which are not sovereign nations. We don't know who owns Taiwan. Recently, we have also studied the Yonaguni dispute between China and Japan and Taiwan. So, Taiwan is not a sovereign place. China claims it to be a part of China, the one China policy. So, all the members here are economies. Now, second thing why we studied APEC is because APEC today says that we have always operated on the basis of non-binding commitments. Now, do remember, decisions taken at APEC are not binding on the members. They are always taken on the basis of majority, consensus and voluntary decisions. So they are not binding on members. Is that clear to everyone? That was APEC. Now, with regards to APEC, we had also studied Bogor goals. There was a group of goals created in APEC called Bogor goals. Initially, the Bogor goals came in 1994 in a place called Indonesia. And what was the objective of Bogor goals? Free and open trade and investment in Asia Pacific by 2010 for all developed economies, by 2020 for developing ones. But much later in 1995, the same APEC also declared Osaka Action Agenda in Japan. What agenda? Osaka Action Plan. So remember these 2-3 words. Bogor Goals 1994. Next comes Osaka Action Agenda. Idea to implement the Bogor Goals thoroughly by further doing liberalization of market, privatization, globalization of the APEC countries to facilitate economic cooperation. Now, in 2025, as the recent summit has happened in South Korea, yes, we have replaced the Bogor goals with the Putrajaya Vision 2040. I repeat, Putrajaya Vision 2040. So do not forget that. Putrajaya Vision 2040. It has now replaced the Bogor goals. What's the vision? Open, dynamic, resilient economy of Asia Pacific. So these are 3-4 things I want every student to remember. APEC summit took place South Korea. Let's come back to the main region right now later. Second, it is composed of economies. Idea is trade liberalization, opening up of markets for better investment and growth. Third, APEC is not binding on the members in terms of decisions. All decisions are voluntary here. Then India is not a member. India tried 2 times, 91, 1997, but we couldn't get membership. Now APEC membership is frozen at 21. There's no more expansion. Then there are 3 things I want you to remember. Bogor goals, Osaka Action Agenda, and last, the Putrajaya Vision. This is an important question for prelims next year. Putrajaya Vision. What is it related to? APEC. Now, usually what UPSC will do? UPSC will give you Putrajaya Vision and confuse you. UPSC will say Putrajaya Vision was a declaration that was made in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This year we had the SCO summit in Beijing, right? It could also give you another question saying that Putrajaya Vision was declared at the ASEAN summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So don't get confused. It is exclusively a part of the APEC. What? Putrajaya Vision to replace the Bogor goals. Now let's come back to the confusion. As aspirant clears it all. It was held in a place called Jeonju in South Korea. No wonder the declaration announced is also known as Jeonju Declaration. Now why are we getting confused with Busan? Let me tell you. There was another meeting that had taken place. If you remember, we were laughing about it in the class. In the class, we have a lot of laughter and exchange of words. Remember, we spoke about the G2 summit. And everyone was saying, ma'am, we have heard about G20. We've heard about G7 in the morning. Russia being promised a membership in G7 back again by US. What is G2? Remember, we were laughing so much. G2 was about a meeting between US President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, they both are calling it egoistically as the G2 summit. That's where the Busan summit had happened, okay? And because the Busan summit happened exactly on the sidelines of the APEC summit, for many newspapers and for many journalists, they were categorizing it as a part of the larger APEC meeting. That's why the confusion is happening here. So now let's make it very clear. Busan was about the G2, where the US and Chinese leadership met. And what did they talk about? Are you not curious? What did they talk about? Was it just a casual chai party for them? What did they speak about? It was important. They together spoke about two things clearly. China told America, reduce the number of tariffs on me, point blank. And what did American president say? He said, yes, I'm ready to do it, boss, but there is a condition. In return, you will have to increase the supply of rare earth material. Don't give us supply shocks. It really hurts us. He said, okay. That was the G2 summit. That was Busan, South Korea. Exactly before the APEC summit. So now no more confusions. Is that clear? Thank you for making it so clear. Eric, aspirant. Thank you. Very good. Absolutely, it was between these two guys. Aspirant, Terukula, that's correct. No, it's okay, Priyamvada. You don't have to take handwritten notes. If you really want to, some students take, feel free. If it helps you remember, go ahead and take it. Otherwise, no need. We'll provide you everything. We'll provide you. Don't worry. It will be there. Nothing to worry. Yes, Eric, rare earth material. And as I move on to the next current event, there's one running question I want to ask all of you. One running question. Should I ask? If the membership of APEC has been frozen at 21, if the membership has been frozen at 21 for APEC, then which forum has seen an expansion of membership in 2025? There were 3-4 meetings held. SCO, APEC, ASEAN. Yes? APEC, no increase in membership. There is a ban on more members since 1991. Then which forum has seen one more member? There is an expansion in one forum. Which of these has seen an expansion? Which of these? ASEAN, SCO or APEC? Where has one new member at? Very good, Diptesh. Brilliant as always. ASEAN. And which member is that? Timor-Leste. East Timor has now become the 11th member for ASEAN. Beautiful. Very good, Terukula Shikha. Excellent, Diptesh. Good, Ravi Priyamvada. Very, very good. No problem, Kojumba. You're most welcome, my dear. Yes, Diptesh has also reminded us. Thank you so much, Diptesh. And this is the beauty of group study. I really like when you people add value to the class. Thank you. Diptesh also reminds us, as the leaders, the top leaders, US and China met at G2 Busan. Apart from exchanging the deal of REM, rare earth material and tariff, there was one more discussion. Very good, Diptesh, for reminding us. It was about how China has agreed to import more corn from US. The same corn that American president wanted us to buy in India. Genetically modified corn. And we said no, we don't allow genetically modified food. We don't. Yes, China agreed to import that. Thank you for reminding. And very good, Terukula, Fulit and Kojumba. East Timor has become, or Timor-Leste has become the 11th member of ASEAN. Brilliant, absolutely. Very, very well done. Excellent. Now, next one. Next news is about the GSAT 7R. And what's the news? Do remember 3 things here very clearly. 1, this is an advanced multi-band communication satellite. In the prelims, typically questions are coming in this format. They will give you GSAT 7R and then they want you to know what kind of satellite is that. What's the objective? Do remember, it's a multi-band communication satellite. It was launched by the ISRO on November 2nd, 2025. And what's the unique thing about it? It has been designed for the Indian Navy. For what? For Indian Navy. Now, this is the heaviest communication satellite in India at 4,400 kilograms. Imagine the weight. You can see the photo here. Yes, this is the GSAT 7R created by ISRO, Atmanirbhar Bharat. for Indian Navy. And what is that? Multi-band communication satellite. It's the heaviest one. Yes, Ravi. It is the heaviest communication satellite till date in India. And how will it help the Navy? It will help Navy in maritime communication and awareness across Indian Ocean region. Today in the morning we were talking about Indian Ocean region because I was talking to you about CSC, Colombo Security Conclave. Colombo Security Conclave, created long back in 2011 or something. New member was added in 2025. What was the new member? Seychelles. What was the idea? To protect the Indian Ocean region from China. So, even this GSAT 7R, the idea is to make our Indian Navy capable of monitoring and doing surveillance in the Indian Ocean region. It was launched by using the LV-M3M5 rocket. It's the most powerful communication satellite and it is the successor of, it has come after the previous satellite that was known as GSAT 7. The previous satellite was called GSAT 7 Rukmini. What was the name? Rukmini. I repeat, Rukmini. Now, this has succeeded Rukmini. Yes, it's very powerful, very, very good. The Bahubali rocket, absolutely Terukula. It will enhance real-time communication, maritime security. Yes, that's correct. Navy and Seychelles is the last member in 2025 for Colombo Security Conclave. It was hosted by India this time and addressed by India's National Security Advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval. That is CSC. So remember both the things together. Now the next one. In November, we also saw how, although in India we have achieved a big target. What is that target? Please remember, I want everybody to remember. Yes, what is that target India had achieved? Very good afternoon, Bulbul. What was the target India has achieved? In June 2025. In June 2025, India has achieved a unique target when it comes to climate change and global warming. Now, 50% of India's total installed electricity capacity is coming from non-fossil fuel. I repeat, as of June 2025, India achieved a milestone. 50% of our total installed capacity for electricity is coming from non-fossil fuel sources, and that's a great achievement. But despite that, there is a problem. Although we are now making a transition towards clean energy, we have a nationally determined contribution which we had updated under Paris Agreement. In February 2022, we had promised that our NDC means reducing our total carbon emission by 45% of India's GDP. That's a commitment and that's a big commitment. We have also achieved a lot. We are transitioning very quickly towards solar energy. And 50% of our installed capacity is already coming from non-fossil fuel, but there is a problem. In India, there is the factor called grid emission factor, GEF. In India, the GEF is still very, very high. What is GEF? GS Paper 3 Science Technology Environment Change. GEF or grid emission factor means the measure of carbon intensity. How much carbon dioxide are you trying to release while you are producing electricity? So even when you are producing clean electricity, clean energy, there is always some carbon dioxide being released in the process. So GEF or the grid emission factor is the measurement of amount of carbon dioxide that you emit in creating per megawatt per hour of electricity through the grid, and that is the problem. Still, that is very high as compared to other countries. And why is it like that? Because although we are making a transition towards green and renewable sources, in India, we have a lower capacity utilization of renewable energy. A very good example can be in most of the states in India, climate change is very, very visible now, right? Except a few states. In most of the states, we usually start depending on conventional sources of energy when it comes to evening. See, everywhere the high demand for electricity starts from evening onwards, 3 p.m. onwards. That's also the time when the sun insolation declines. Plus, there is rain, there is flooding, there is an extension of monsoon. This year, India has experienced 4% extra water and rainfall in the southwest monsoon. That means you cannot blindly depend on solar energy. The capacity and consistency is very limited. It is intermittent. And that's why we still depend on conventional grids. And that's the reason why during the peak demand, we continue to depend on thermal power generation. So our total grid emission factor is high. So will you remember the grid emission factor? Is that the case? Did we update the NDC in August 2022? Check once again and please confirm me. Thank you so much, aspirant. Can you confirm once again? Was it February or August 2022? When did we last update our NDC? Today we are discussing in COP30 Summit in Belém, Brazil, that majority of countries from EU have not declared at all. So many countries are not declaring. India also had last declared in 2022. Now India is saying, I want some time. I cannot declare the fresh goal before December end 2025. But when did we last declare that? Please confirm. February 22 or August 22? Very good, Diptesh. Brilliant. Capacity versus utilization is a problem because although renewable energy is brilliant, it is seasonal in nature. You cannot use solar energy on a cloudy day, on a rainy day. And typically you can't use it in the evening and the night. That's also the period of peak demand. That's why. Okay, Vikash says July. So there's a confusion about month. Good afternoon, good evening, Vikash. So we really are confused. Whether India updated NDC in 2022, we all know. February, August or July? Let's clarify that. Okay, Pushpa says it is August 22. Now we are declaring the fresh one, Eric. That's a different one. Now India has already told in COP30 in Belém that the fresh NDC I will declare by December end. I want some time. But other countries like EU have not even given a deadline. So when did India declare? Okay, aspirant also confirms. It was in August 2020. So thank you for that clarification, Pushpa, Eric, Vikash, Terukula, thank you so much. Brilliant. So we'll always remember now that India has declared last NDC of 45% reduction in carbon emission of GDP in August 22. Now India will do in December in 25. But despite the fact that we are moving towards renewable, our grid emission factor continues to be high. So remember what is GER? What is GEF? The amount of carbon dioxide you release while you create per megawatt of electricity per hour. That's your grid emission factor. So let's remember, 22nd, August 22. Very, very good. Brilliant. And who said that? About the Panchamitra COP26 Glasgow. Very good, Terukula. Equally important. Brilliant. And who is going to host? Who is going to host the next conference of parties? If this time it's Brazil, which is the next country? Quickly answer me as we proceed. Next important news. It was from Kerala. The news said that Kerala officially became the first state in India to declare itself free from extreme poverty. In that article from the Hindu, we had discussed how Kerala is not only the first state to declare itself to be 100% digitally literate, but today Kerala has also become 100% free of extreme poverty. Extreme poverty, absolute poverty. Poverty can be many types we have discussed. Extreme, absolute, relative, secondary, intergenerational. Yes. So Kerala declares itself free from absolute poverty. First state in India to do that. And why did this happen? What is the magic reason behind that? The reason is a program called EPEP program. I repeat, EPEP program, GS paper 3. What's EPEP? Extreme Poverty Eradication Program. Kerala involved people from the top government level to the ground level, door to door. Workers including Gram Panchayat, Asha, ANM, Anganwadi and various other public health officials, NGOs. What was done? 64,000 families who were victims of extreme poverty were recognized. They were addressed, they were tracked. People were provided vaccine, nutrition, some basic employment, some basic skilling and livelihood and a proper house to live in. Because it was done by personal targeting, micro level targeting, Kerala saw this success. The plan of EPEP was initiated in 2021 and within 4 years it has become a role model for all other states to follow, making Kerala free from extreme poverty. Very good evening. Sitaram. No problem, you're most welcome there. So I said, which country is now hosting the COP31 summit? Initially, some students are saying America. I thought America is going to host the G20 summit next year. Is it also COP31? Some say Turkey, some say US. I'll be quiet. I'll be diplomatic. I'll say very late. I'm not saying right now. Let's discuss. Okay, next one is, oh my God, COP has a long life. We were talking about COP and COP has come. COP30 summit. COP30 summit was unique 2025 because it was held in Amazon rainforest. Belém, Brazil, in the heart of Amazon rainforest. And why was it held here? It was held here as a symbol to tell the global community in the whole world that please understand the importance of conserving rainforest. Amazon is the lung of the world, so we need to protect that. And that's why this time the meeting happened here. What are the key developments in the meeting? The biggest development was India being very categorical about the common but differentiated responsibility. All the countries have a common goal to control global warming, but every country can only perform on the basis of its contribution and its financial capacity. Together, all the global south countries and developing countries have said that by 2035, we all need a finance of $1.3 trillion from developed countries to change towards renewable energy and to cope with climate change. Third thing, a very important facility has been announced called TFFF. TFFF. I repeat, TFFF. TFFF. What is TFFF? The Tropical Forest Forever Facility. So don't forget that. Nobody should forget that. I'm going to remind you. Okay, I'll come back to that discussion on Turkey and America. Let's hold it right now. Let's come to the present one at least. Why think of future? Let's be in the moment right now. COP30 happened in Brazil, Amazon forest. A new development was, apart from these two, TFFF, the Tropical Forest Forever Facility. It's a new proposal that has been created by the host Brazil. And it means all the countries should come together and do some kind of self-finance investment. It will be started from Brazil because Brazil is the host, and then many other countries of the global south can contribute to this fund. What will we do with this fund? It's not visible, Ravi? No, there's no headline here. Okay, I understood what's not visible. All right, I'll repeat it for you. I'm so sorry about that, Ravi. It's not visible. I'll repeat this for you. The first line is talking about TFFF, Tropical Forest Forever Facility. A self-contributory mechanism. Very good, Diptesh. Yes. Newti Rao is also there, Eric. Very good. We'll come to that. Okay. So now under this facility, what has happened? We will together create a fund. And what will we do with that fund? All the global south countries, including Brazil, will raise $125 billion. What? $125 billion will be raised. And it will be done through a mix of private and public investment. What will we do with that? With that, we will try to finance countries to try to create more forest cover. It's about using that money to incentivize various countries of global south to expand their tropical forest cover, to preserve their forest and to expand their forest cover. Initially, the membership will have Brazil, Indonesia, Colombia. Colombia is also in the news right now, along with Venezuela. Don't forget that. Colombia, Congo, DRC, Ghana, and Malaysia. These are the tropical forest countries who will start contributing and becoming a part of this facility, TFFF, Tropical Forest Forever Facility, proposed by Brazil. Money, $125 billion. Purpose, preserve your forest, expand your forest. Members, Brazil, Indonesia, Colombia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Malaysia. That's the initial partnership. But slowly, more countries will come and start participating. And who will invest in that? Germany has said, I will invest. UAE will invest. France, Norway, and United Kingdom will also invest. Then, why American president is not going to invest? American president is not going to invest? Is he not ready to invest? Think about it. Why is he so angry about investing in this summit? You know the answer? Okay. Very good, Ravi. Colombia and Venezuela are in the news because American president is taking an action right now to control the narcotic drug smuggling over there by attacking the ships and the boats which are carrying various drugs in this region. Colombia, Venezuela, attacked by America. I'm not going to draw it, otherwise everybody laughs. Operation Southern Spear was in the news. Very good, Shikha. Very good. Yes, Terukula. There is definitely that element over here. And as Eric reminds us, and I'm thankful to Eric, that another theme came very clearly in this COP30 summit, that is Muti Rao. What is Muti Rao? Collective action to combat climate change. What's Muti Rao? Two new words have come recently. One is Muti Rao and the other was Ubuntu. Ubuntu was related to G20 Johannesburg. Muti Rao is related to COP30 Brazil. Very good, aspirant. Because we are talking about Operation Southern Spear as reminded by Shikha and Pushpa, everything also relates to Trinidad and Tobago. US and Trinidad and Tobago are doing joint military exercise, but Trinidad and Tobago is very near to the coast of Venezuela. Venezuela is seeing that as a major threat. Okay, so that's in the news right now. Brilliant. Now coming back to, I hope the first line is visible. As Ravi said, I am worried now. What if the first line is not visible at all? It's okay. If it's not, I'll keep reading that to you. Next time, I'll make sure it's visible. I apologize for that. Okay? I'm so sorry for that, Bacha. I'm sorry. Okay. Now we are talking about the Assam Accord. Very important, related to citizenship. Part 2 of the Indian Constitutions. Yes, Part 2 of the Indian Constitution. Citizenship Amendment Act or Citizenship Act 1955. Assam Accord. It is also in the news. Why? Because recently, Section 6A of the Assam Accord has been Section 6A of the Citizenship Act 1955 has been in the news. This is the title. Okay, Ravi and Vikash, I hope it's visible to everyone. The first line, very good, Vikash, because we are looking at NRC, National Register for Citizens. National Citizenship Enumeration. So now the first line says Section 6A of Citizenship Act 1955 is in the news. Why is it in the news? It is in the news because it is a special provision in the Citizenship Act 1955 which governs all the matters of citizenship in India. There is a special dedicated section called 6A. What does it relate to? It relates to the citizenship of people who are governed by the Assam Accord 1985. By what? Assam Accord 1985. So what is going on? This section says that those people, listen carefully, those people who have come to Assam either on 1st January 1966 or they have come before. So either you have come on or after January 1st, 1996. January 1st, 1966, either you are coming on that date or after that, but before March 25, 1971 from Bangladesh, you will be detected and called as illegal immigrant or as a foreigner. And then what will you do? If you are a foreigner, if you are an illegal migrant, can you give your vote? You can't. Is there a solution? Yes. We will accommodate you because we will give you a period of about almost 10 years to accommodate you. In these 10 years, if you are someone who has not come on or before January 1st, 1966, from this period to March 25, 1971, if you have not come, if there is an issue here, if you have come somewhere here in this timeline, you are not the citizen. You will be given a period of 10 years from the date you are detected as illegal immigrant or as a foreigner. Now what will you do? Because you are a foreigner, you will be given a period of 10 years. After 10 years, you will get the same rights and obligations as citizens, except being included in electoral roll. You can't do that for these 10 years. But after 10-year period is over, now you will be considered as citizen. So there is a clear-cut condition in Section 6A of Citizenship Amendment Act 1955. So remember, this is the act that determines in India all aspects of citizenship. But when you talk of Section 6A, it automatically relates to the Assam Accord 1985. Now is it clear? What does it say? It clearly says those people who have reached Assam from this period, January 1, 1966 to March 25, 1971, will be called as foreigners. For 10 years, they can live there, but they will not get a citizenship right. But after 10 years, they will be considered as deemed citizens. Everything became controversial because of the final NRC exercise that was being done in the Assam. It was done in 2019 based on the same cutoff date, that is March 24 or 25, 1971. Now it became very, very controversial. Why did it become controversial? Because people suddenly started saying, will the Election Commission of India conduct another SIR in Assam also? Just like we did in Bihar, NDA won finally. Now we are doing in West Bengal. So much controversy is going on. 12 states and union territories are experiencing proper SIR being done. In the morning, we have discussed about digital SIR, if you remember. People were asking a question. Will we do another SIR for Assam? Why should we do? In 2019 only, we have done NRC estimation. Same paper, same document is needed for NRC enumeration also. Why can't we use that? Why do we need to conduct such an expensive SIR again for Assam? That made people insecure. Is it an attempt to once again identify illegal immigrants and send them back and deport them? That is why this was very, very controversial and it was in the news everywhere. Okay. So remember, 1985 Assam Accord. What's the key provision here? Why does Section 6A exactly talk of Assam Accord in the Citizenship Amendment Act 1955. Very, very important to remember. I hope it's clear, Vikash. Yes, 10-year period of registration, correct, Pushpa. After that, they can become deemed citizen. Before that, you can live, but you will not be a deemed citizen. You are an outsider, at least for those 10 years. Very good evening, Anup. Very good. Under the Ministry of Home Affairs, Vikash. Brilliant. Now, quickly coming back to the next one, it's about surrogacy. Why was this in the news? Because in the Hindu, there was a very big article that was called as secondary infertility. What was that called as? Secondary infertility. What is secondary infertility? Where a couple has one child, but now after one child, they can't conceive again. They cannot have a second child. The controversy came from there. There was a petition made in the Supreme Court that if I am experiencing as a woman secondary infertility, can I go and take surrogacy? Can I use surrogacy? And Supreme Court said, no, you can't. If you have one child and that is alive, then you will not get any opportunity to take surrogacy help again. That raised a question. The petitioners were angry. They said it is a right to life. Article 21. It is a right to privacy. That I can have another child if I want to. Why is Supreme Court stopping me and not allowing me help of surrogacy in the case of secondary infertility? That was the question. So what is the Surrogacy Law 2021 in India? 4 things we need to remember quickly. 1, India does not allow commercial surrogacy. Okay, India, we do not allow commercial surrogacy. What you can actually do is that you can do altruistic surrogacy. What is altruism? Altruism means for somebody's welfare, out of kindness and emotion. If you want to help someone, then you can be a surrogate. You can give your womb, carry somebody else's baby as a surrogate mother. That you can do, and those people whose child you are bearing will be able to give you some kind of food help, they can give you insurance, they can give you medical financing, but they cannot give you a fees for surrogacy. Because in India, we do not allow commercial surrogacy, only altruistic surrogacy is allowed. The idea is to help people who are infertile to have a child. That means if people already have one child, they will not be allowed second time surrogacy. So secondary infertility is not covered in Indian surrogacy. Then one more thing. The lady who is going to become the surrogate mother should also be the child of at least one mother. Should also be a mother of at least one, existing child. If she has not had a child, she cannot become a surrogate. She has to have one baby at least. Only then she can be a surrogate. She should be between typically 25 to 35 years of age. And the couple who is planning to take surrogacy help should be a married couple for a known period of time, at least 5 to 7 years. And they should not even have one child. They cannot have even one child, only then they can take surrogacy. And the woman who is becoming surrogate will have to have at least one child. She should be 25 to 35 and this lady should also be married with at least one kid of her own. All these are certain protocols we follow in India. We do not support commercial surrogacy and that created a big question about secondary infertility. Now the couple also who want a baby should be married. Yes, that's very important. And the partners who are married should at least have been married for 5 years and they should be Indian nationals. What should they be? Indian citizens. Foreigners can't come and do surrogacy in India. They have to be Indian citizens and they should not have even one child, either biologically or through adoption. Only then can they take surrogacy help. The idea is to not commercialize surrogacy. Otherwise, what will happen? It will become like trafficking. It will become like flesh trade. And when I say the word human trafficking, which article of the Indian Constitution am I talking to quickly? Which article of the Indian Constitution am I referring to when I use the word surrogacy? Human trafficking. We need to avoid human trafficking. That's why we don't allow commercial surrogacy. Otherwise, poor women will always be used as instruments of reproductive torture. Beautiful Terukula. Very good, Ravi. We are looking at Article 23 of the Indian Constitution. Absolutely well said. Great. Now next news. Recently news has come about various kinds of cyber frauds, but one of the most concerning one, GS Paper 3 Technology Science, was about GPS spoofing. In the area of New Delhi, we witnessed very good. Eric, Ujef, Pushpa, Vikash, Sitaram, Banu, Priyamvada, Anup. Correct. Article 23. Brilliant. You nailed it. Wonderful. Now, GPS spoofing was in the news. Aeroplanes were losing their tracks and pilots were getting misguided. They were getting fake and they were getting deviated signals as they were flying the aircraft. What is that? That's called GPS spoofing. Spoofing means to fool someone, to misguide someone, and under GPS spoofing, we are trying to manipulate navigation data with a dangerous intention. It's a cybercrime. Definitely it's a cyber war. And it's not like jamming. When you do GPS jamming, the GPS signals completely stops, it gets blocked. But this is more dangerous. In this, it's not getting blocked. You are transmitting fake satellite signals. And you are trying to cancel the genuine ones. Now it's dangerous because for the pilot, there is a backup available. There is a 5 to 6, 7 hours backup available. In case the GPS or satellite data is not available, the pilot can manage for 5 to 8 hours, but not beyond that. It's very dangerous because if the aircraft's navigation system is picking up fake or fraudulent signals, then there will always be a wrong data about the position of that aircraft. What height is that aircraft in? What is the time of landing? And speed. We will never know the reality. Accidents can happen. Okay? Or various kinds of aircraft capturings can happen. Abductions can happen. It's a very dangerous thing. The aim is to give a fake signal. And that's very dangerous. We use specialized hardware or software to do that. Once again reminding us, it is terrorism, Priyamvada. Absolutely. Yes, Anup. It's like hacking the aircraft navigation system. It is about online cyber terrorism. No wonder if you remember in the newspaper yesterday, the Supreme Court has told CBI that listen, do anything you can. I, as the Supreme Court, give you the free hand to deal with cases of cybercrime. Whether it's online arrest, virtual arrest, whether it's some kind of an investment scheme, or whether it's some kind of a job fake scheme. Go ahead and give punishments because it's becoming a danger for India right now. Okay. Now, talking about spoofing. Usually spoofing used to earlier be reported from conflict areas like the Black Sea area, West Asia and Middle East, or military areas where you have world's major electronic warfare zones. Now, if you remember last year, sitting in Israel, people were able to hack the cell phones and the mobile signals used in Iran. It became a very common news. That time people said this is a dangerous precedent. It is cyber attack and now something similar happening to India is even more dangerous for us. In fact, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation in India, the DGCA, had issued clarification that please Be very safe about it. Many flights were cancelled and delayed because of that, okay? So now we are seeing that's happening in India. It's becoming like a global attack. And the International Air Transport Association has recorded 4.3 lakh cases of GPS jamming or spoofing in the conflict areas from 2024. That is an increase of 62% from 2023. So imagine the rate of hacking, and yeah, it's like proper. That was a pager hack attack, very good. And now this is a cyber spoofing attack, very dangerous. And now we come back to another interesting development from China. That's a quick news. China has recently announced that it has now acquired Fujian aircraft carrier. What is that? Fujian aircraft carrier, and now it is only next to America when it comes to such advanced technology. So what is that? It is China's first aircraft carrier which has a unique system. I want you to remember the name of that system for GS Paper 3 Defense and Science. It's called Catapult Launch System. What is it called? Catapult Launch System. This is China's first acquisition, Fujian aircraft of the Catapult Launch System. It means it can launch heavy and fully loaded warplanes. It will also be able to have an early warning and control plane system. China has two other carriers that are existing. One is the Liangguning and the other is the Shandong, but Fujian is first indigenously made in China. It's completely China made. And with this, China will now have the second largest number of such ships with catapult launch system, only after America. So do remember, only after America. So remember Fujian, very good. Third aircraft of China, completely made in China. Unique system is Catapult Launch System. Okay, it also has an early warning system. It will now be able to launch multiple and very, very heavy, fully loaded warplanes, and it will also be able to control plane mechanism. This is only after US that China has developed such an advanced technique. Now next is about two concepts, functional food and smart protein. We have discussed this in November, GS Paper 3, Science and Nutrition. India has one of the largest group of children who are victims of stunting and wasting, acute malnourishment. So in the newspaper and in the news, we spoke about two new interventions that India should do under Poshan Abhiyan, Eat Right Mission. What is that? One is we should introduce functional foods. What are functional foods? Functional foods are those which are biofortified. Nowadays, we are developing rice, wheat, and various pulses that are fortified with vitamin B12, some kind of protein and some kind of calcium. What is the idea? The idea is to control what? High degree of hidden hunger in India, malnourishment in India. So the commonly consumed staples in India are wheat and rice. We all know that. And they are only rich in carbohydrates. Yes. That's why India is malnourished. So solution, fortify these. That's called 3D food printing. Bioprocessing of food when you naturally or artificially add some vitamin or some mineral into existing food. A very good example, vitamin D riched rice, omega-3 fortified milk and probiotic yogurt. Similarly, smart proteins. We all know it's expensive to eat meat. That's the only largest source of protein for most people, and India is mainly vegetarian. Very good, Priyanshu. It's mainly carbohydrate. Yes, Vikash, the MPI. Very good. India is mainly vegetarian. So we have a high grade protein hunger as well. Plus we only consume carbohydrate after Green Revolution. Agreed? Government is also giving MSP on wheat and rice only. It's not ready to give it so much on pulses or other things like millets or vegetable. So that's the reason today we talk about smart protein. What are smart protein? Rather than only eating non-veg as the only source of protein, now we can also eat plant-based protein. That has the same almost quality like animal protein, and we can also have fermented foods that have a very high degree of vitamin B12. Then we can also consume artificial laboratory or cultivated meat that is deliberately rich in protein. A very good solution for those who cannot afford non-veg and for those who, because of cultural reasons, cannot eat non-veg. So biofortification is fortifying the food. Smart protein comes from three ways. One, plant-based protein. Two, laboratory created meat. And three, fermented foods. So that was in the news. Great solutions to control malnourishment that's happening in India. No, if it is artificially created, it can come in the category Priyamvada. It will come under the category, okay? Okay. Now, next news quickly was about Aditya L1. What was it about? Aditya L1. Why was it in the news? It was in the news because Aditya L1 is India's first space-based solar mission to study the sun in a very simple way. India's first space-based mission to study sun. And what are we trying to study exclusively? Coronal mass ejections. The sun is constantly, ejecting out solar flares, solar winds, particles that are rich in energy because of the constant fusion reaction that happens in the sun. It's like a living nuclear reactor. That's your sun. So now if we want to, very good Vikash and Priyamvada. Now if we want to study the nature of these solar particles, solar winds and ejections and flames that are coming from the sun, you have the solution of Aditya L1, because ultimately we can also use this data to understand what impact can a very high density of solar flares and coronal ejections have on people on the earth, on astronauts, on various satellite systems. That's very important. So now Aditya L1 was launched in 2023 by ISRO. Interesting thing. Where is it located? Where is L1 located? Aditya L1 is located at the Lagrange point. Where is it located? L1. That's why it's called L1. Why else is it called L1? Remember, Vikash, you were the one who had explained us the Lagrange point with Diptesh long back. That was last month. So, L1. Because it's located in the Lagrange point. Why? It is located in such a location between the sun and the earth that there is absolutely no impact of gravity. Second, it gives you the complete and clearest picture of sun's atmosphere. That's the corona. Okay? Yes, that's the idea, and that's why we call it the L1 point. It's located at L1 between the sun and the earth, somewhere here. Okay? An area where there is a gravity neutrality, and therefore it can be understood. All the phenomena can be understood very well. It has some excellent advanced properties like X-ray spectrometer. What else? Coronagraph, a very exclusive device to understand solar wind, electric particles and magnetometer. What's the objective? To study coronal mass ejection, solar flare and near-Earth space phenomena. Okay, so don't forget Aditya L1, situated at the Lagrange point. Now, Lagrange point, typically between any two bodies, you have 5 Lagrange points, okay, from L1 to say L2, L3, L4, L5. Now deliberately this has been placed in the L1 area. L1 so that it can study the sun continuously without any blockage. Plus, as I said, it's a gravity neutral area. So that's why it has been situated over here. Okay, so that's it for Aditya L1. Very good, Shikha. An area of neutral gravity, a very smart location from where you can properly 24 hours study the sun. Ultimately, the idea is to study sun's atmosphere, outer surface called corona, and coronal mass ejection, the amount of flaring that comes from the sun. Very important. Next, Operation All Clear. It was in the news. Why? Because Indian Prime Minister Shri Modi had gone to Bhutan to wish and to congratulate K4 of Bhutan. What is K4? King 4 of Bhutan, who is also known by a very famous name. Do you remember in the news we had studied what was the name given to him? The Bodhisthava King. What was the name? The Bodhisthava King. So Indian Prime Minister had gone to Bhutan to celebrate his birth anniversary. Okay, and that's why India-Bhutan was in the news. He congratulated the Bodhisthava King, whose name is King Jigme Singye Wangchuk. He is responsible for modernizing Bhutan and giving Bhutan its modern identity, to preserve its culture and democracy and the policy of friendship towards India. Now, what was special in this visit? Long back it is the same king called K4 who had conducted a major operation. Against whom? Against various separatist groups, insurgent groups that were hailing from Assam in India like the Alpha and the NDFB. All these had entered Bhutan and created their bases and camps in southern Bhutan. At that time, it was King 4, K4, King Jigme Singye Wangchuk, who coordinated with Indian government and was able to destroy all these insurgents, make the Bhutan-India border absolutely clean. That's why he's famous, and he laid the foundation of modern, safe democracy in Bhutan. So that's why he was in the news. Remember 2-3 things. This operation of sending and destroying insurgent groups actively was Operation All Clear. So remember Operation All Clear. Remember Bhutan. Very, very good aspirant Vikash Kojumba. K4, remember his name, the Bodhisattva king. Remember, he is Jigme Singye Wanchuk. Today he is not the active king anymore, but he continues to advise his successor K5. Okay, his image is large when it comes to policies in Bhutan. Quickly, the next one. Section 21 of Representation of People Act 1950. Section 21. What are we talking about? We are talking about the SIR, Special Intensive Revision. We all know that electoral roll should be created periodically to avoid last minute SIR like it happened in the case of Bihar this time. So, Section 21 of the Representation of People Act 1950. Now, in one of my Hindu lectures, Ramu had asked the question. He said, what's the difference between Representation of People Act 1950 and 1951? I have detailed explained that. And I think all of us are clear with that also. So today we are talking a very good Terukula and Vikash. Today we are talking about SIR, Special Intensive Revision. Yes, it is Section 21 of the Representation of People Act 1950 that talks about preparing electoral roll or voter ID list for each constituency in a systematic prescribed manner by making sure that it comes into effect immediately upon the publication, and everything is done under proper rules. Now, this section also tells you, Section 21, that electoral roll can be revised in any manner prescribed in the Representation of People Act 1950. Either you have to do an SIR before each general election to Lok Sabha and State Assembly, or before each by-election to fill an unexpected vacancy in the case in any constituency. But it also says Election Commission may at any time, now focus on the word any time, Election Commission may at any time, when it feels there are right reasons to do an SIR, can conduct a special revision for either full constituency or a part of constituency. The discretion is given to Election Commission of India. Under Section 21 RPA Act 2050. Very, very good Kojumba. Kojumba again reminds us, RPA 1950 is about creating the rules. 1951 was about implementing those rules practically. Beautiful. Right? Very good, Vikash. Ultimately, it's about preparing electoral roll. Section 21, 1950. And what did we say? In the Hindu class, we said the Election Commission should keep on doing summary revisions rather than doing a full-blown special intensive revision, because it's very expensive and it wastes a lot of time. So do it timely, do it periodically. Why do you wait for emergency? In Bihar, we did this after 21 years. No wonder all the data was expired. And then conflict starts, okay? So that was in the news. Now the next one is about privileged communication. What? Privileged communication. In this news, two sections were very, very popular. One, there is an act called Indian Evidence Act. Please don't forget anyone. Indian Evidence Act. In this act, there is a section called 126 to section 129. They say that there are few relationships that are called as privilege relationship. What are these? Privilege relationship. The relationship between a lawyer and his client. That's a privilege and fiduciary relationship. A lawyer has to protect the interest of the client, and there is always a secret discussion between them that cannot be disclosed in public. A lawyer should maintain confidentiality and secrecy of all the discussions, documents and evidences that he or she has exchanged with his or her client. That is governed under Indian Evidence Act section 126 to 129. Why was it in the news? It was in the news because although it protects communication between a client and their legal advisor or the lawyer, it became controversial because there is another section that is a part of Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita. BNSS, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, that was created in 2023. There is a section 179 here. that is coming under conflict with Section 126 of Indian Evidence Act. Why is it coming under conflict? Why? Yes, it was a case from Punjab and one more state. That's why it was in the news. Very good, Anup. And absolutely, Vikash, that's correct. Except for those clauses that come under official secrecy 1923. That's a debate about right to information. It's a separate debate. But otherwise, a client and a lawyer will have a secrecy in their relationship. Nothing can break that. That's Indian Evidence Act 126 section. But it is in contradiction to Bharatiya Nyaya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita section 179. Why? Because under section 179 of BNSS, a police or an investigation authority has the power to call any witness for questioning during an investigation. And that's why when police was causing, again and again they were calling lawyers. It was pointed out that why are you calling lawyers and forcing them to give the information? Because under section 126 of Indian Evidence Act, a lawyer will never give any information about their client unless there are exceptions. 3 exceptions. 1, the client himself says you can release the information. 2, if the lawyer is convinced and he has seen that there has been a criminal activity that is being done during the investigation of case by the client. Or 3, in case the lawyer knows that the client is up to something that's illegal. So in that case, yes, the lawyer will take a call and disclose, but otherwise they will not. They are not supposed to. That's the relationship of fiduciary and privilege. Indian Evidence Act section 126. But Bharatiya Nyaya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita has section 179, the power of police to summon anybody for investigation. So there has to be a thin balance between the two. And always remember, that's why it was in the news, and nobody can force a lawyer to give out the information. Very good, Vikash. Now that we are talking about in the last article we spoke about King Wangchuk, we are also now reminded of Sonam Wangchuk, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk from Ladakh. Yes, it also deals with National Security Act 1980, preventive detention, Article 22 and Article 20 of the Indian Constitution. Now next one, that's a very sweet piece of news. Art and Culture GS Paper 1. Recently a marble, a very fine quality marble from a place called Ambaji in Gujarat has now come to highlight because it has received a geographical indication tag. Where is it coming from? It's coming from a place called Ambaji. What's special about that? It looks like that, if it's visible to you. It's purely white in color. It has some kind of a stripe design to it. Now, it's a very fine quality marble. It has a pristine white color. And how is it created? It is a metamorphic rock. In your UPSC exam, you will study geography books, NCERT. In NCERT Geography grade 10th and grade 12th, you have a detailed chapter which talks about sedimentary, metamorphic and igneous rocks, various types of rocks. So metamorphic rocks, do remember, marble is a good example here. A rock that forms when limestone is subjected to heat, high temperature and pressure that creates metamorphosis, a change. How is it? What is it composed of? It is composed of mineral called calcite, CaCO3, and usually other minerals like mica, quartz, pyrite, iron oxide and graphite. So that's it. The GI tag index, and what are we looking at? Ambaji marble. Very, very good, Terukula. Yesterday, Darjeeling, Mandarin orange has also received a GI tag. Brilliant, absolutely. Very, very good. Brilliant. Now, the next is POCSO Act. So many times we have done POCSO Act. Quickly once more. POCSO Act 2012 was in the news. Why was in the news? Remember, please think about it. Why was it in the news? Very good, Vikash. The GI tag, Goods Indication Tags 1999. And what was the first product in India to get that tag? Quickly. All my tea lovers. Which was the first product to get the GI tag? Yes, it's very old Kojumba, about 1500 years old. Beautiful. Very good, Vikash has already said that. Sorry, I missed that. Darjeeling tea. Yes. Darjeeling tea was the first GI product. Brilliant. So can I ask you one more question? From which state is Amroha Dholak? There is a kind of musical instrument called Amroha Dholak. Which state is that from? That's also GI, right? Okay, that's later. Let's not deviate. Very good, Diptesh. Coming back to POCSO 2012. Recently, POCSO was in the news Yes, I saw that, my dear. Very good. Very good. I saw that. Okay. Now, coming back to POCSO. POCSO was in the news big time. Yes, it's about protection of children from sexual abuse. Why was it in the news? Because recently the Supreme Court, it saw a petition. The petitioner was a woman, and the woman was accused of sexually molesting a boy who was underage boy. He was a child. And the woman said that, why am I being punished under POCSO? Because in POCSO, it's only the men who are the perpetrators and girls who are the victim. And that's when Supreme Court said, no, that's wrong. POCSO is a gender neutral act. You cannot associate victim or perpetrator to any kind of gender. A perpetrator can be a man and a woman both. And a victim can also be a girl or a boy both. There is no such logic. We don't follow that because in India, we can use the word he as a pronoun under Section 13(1) of the General Clauses Act 1897 as referring to a man as well as to a woman. It is a gender-free term. It can refer to masculine or feminine gender. There is no logic that the word he is used in the section of POCSO Act. It means only men are considered as the perpetrators of the crime. That's illogical. That's illogical. Supreme Court also gave an example here, a beautiful example. What did Supreme Court say? Supreme Court says if you look at the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita created in 2023, BNS, it has a special provision on rape under Section 63. What section? Section 63, provision of rape. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. There we are specially saying a man commits a rape against a woman. We are using the word man here. That is different. Here it is exclusively said man. But in the POCSO, we are not using man and woman. It is a gender neutral act. That means a man or a woman both can be the criminal, or a girl child or a boy child can be the victim in that case, making POCSO gender neutral. A child, anybody who is under 18 without reference to gender. So do remember this about the POCSO Act. Very important. Okay. Do also remember Section 63 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Don't forget that. Gender neutrality. Very good, Diptesh. Just like Constitution is also gender neutral. So many fundamental rights. Do we mean it's only for men or women? No, not at all. Now next one. Senkaku Island was in the news. Similarly, Yonaguni Island is also in the news. If you see the map here, I have already shown you the map. Here is Yonaguni. It is about 100 to 110 kilometers from Taiwan. Yes, this is Japan. Here is China. It is a matter of dispute today. Why? Because Japan decided to deploy 03 type medium range surface to air missile at Yonaguni. Idea to protect from Chinese aggression. What did China do? China was angry and China said, no, it is not fair. Japan said there is nothing wrong in that. Yonaguni is my westernmost flank. It's my territory. China says, no, you are deliberately doing it in Taiwan in order to try to attack or do some military activity in Taiwan because it's a very strategically dangerous location now. Yonaguni, where Japan is putting all these military infrastructure and missile, is only 100 kilometers from Taiwanese coast. So, Japan said, my idea is not to initiate a war, only to promote self-defense. But China says it is provocative in nature. And I will take definitely an action here because according to China, there is a principle called One China. Under One China, China feels Japan is a part of China. China feels that Taiwan is a part of China itself. Although Japan says, I have no claims on China. Long back, after being defeated in the Second World War, 1945, Japan had given up all the claims on Taiwan. But Japan did not make it clear whether Japan is giving it to the mainland China or whether Japan is giving to a small political faction of China that was then ruling Taiwan. And since then, the controversy is going on. People in Taiwan sometimes feel that they need sovereignty, but China says no. Japan had given it to the mainland China only, and it is very much a part of One China. So that's why today creating a small missile is actually angering China very, very much. Okay, so do remember that. Now next one is about Bangladesh's deposed Prime Minister Ms. Sheikh Hasina. She has been given a death sentence by International Crimes Tribunal in Bangladesh. Why? Because she and her home minister have been accused of doing genocide, of promoting killings of so many people to not be able to prevent atrocity against people in some anti-government protest that happened in 2024, leading to a death of many, many people. And because of that, today, she has been given by a three-judge bench, what? A death sentence. So that's in the news. Now, Bangladesh is also telling India to immediately start the deportation process. They need Ms. Sheikh Hasina back. But India is caught up in a very strange dilemma right now. It's an international policy dilemma, whether to go ahead with deportation or because so many countries are saying it's an invalid thing to do. It is a very, very biased judgment that has come indeed, okay? All right. That was the news. Now coming back to Senkaku. Just now we spoke about Yonaguni. Senkaku is another problem since long time. Hello, Levino. Yes, indeed, you're coming after a long time. Yes, good evening. Okay, now looking at after Yonaguni, Senkaku. Senkaku is again an area of conflict between China and Japan. Please see carefully. This is Senkaku. This was Taiwan. This was Yonaguni. Here is China. Here is your Japan. Senkaku is again a matter of conflict. Yes, because China calls it the IOU. Japan calls it Senkaku. It is an uninhabited group of islands situated in East China Sea. Now, don't get confused. Most students say South China Sea. No. It's East China Sea. It's visible right here. Senkaku Island. Okay. Now, the island is roughly about 6.3 square kilometer and the surrounding area is full of volcanic landscape. Also remember, it has a great prospect for natural resources. It is rich in natural resources. It has been a long called disputed area between the two. Both China and Japan are trying to prove their ownership on this piece of island here. If you talk about the administration, then currently Japan has the ownership of administration right on Senkaku Island. Okay, very near the Okinawa prefecture. It's an area that has major potential for oil and natural gas. So no wonder Japan is supported by US here in protecting Senkaku. But China is not understanding. China keeps on attacking and harassing the areas near Senkaku, sometimes by sending a ship to survey or sometimes just deploying some kind of a coast guard ship. She's in New Delhi as of the last update. Okay? All right. Okay, definitely. Why not? We can do that. Now, next is IAF Tejas. Unfortunately, we all know during the Dubai Air Show, Indian Air Force Tejas had crashed. Remember? A young pilot lost his life. Yes, he was from Himachal Pradesh. Was he from Himachal Pradesh? Can you please confirm me? Was he? What happened? The Indian Air Force officially had decided to retire, say goodbye to the existing MiG-21, and now they were being replaced by the latest and the more advanced Tejas series of aircraft. Okay? What is special about Tejas? Yes, that was a Dubai Air Show, Ravi. Tejas is a single engine, one engine, delta wing multi-role light combat aircraft, LAC. Multi-role light combat aircraft, jointly made by HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and the Aeronautical Development Agency, exclusively for Indian Air Force. It is a 4.5 generation fighter jet designed for close combat, ground attack roles, but unfortunately, it crashed during a Dubai show as the pilot was trying to land that. Today it has raised another question. Today people are blaming. They are saying, many people have in fact called it very ruthlessly. They are saying it is almost like a coffin that is flying in the air, just like the previous MiG. Although the government is saying, no, that's not true. That's not true, because this is the second only such accident that has happened in the last so many years. Okay. It was for the first time that this kind of Tejas LCA crashed. Long back it had crashed. Once it had happened in 2021. Since then, so many years it has been operational, nothing has happened. But this time it did. Unfortunately, November 21st at the Dubai Air Show, a young pilot did lose his life while landing this. And that has raised a lot of question about its safety. Yes, very good. It's 4.5 generation. Yes, DRDO, HAL. Very good, Himalaya. Absolutely, Priyanshu Ravi. Yes, now it's under construction. Many more consignments of Tejas are now coming. Now next is G20 Summit. Quickly, I will summarize in 3 points. G20, this time for the first time being hosted in Africa, South Africa, where Johannesburg. What was special? US had boycotted this summit. Next year, G20 is being hosted by America, but still America boycotted the summit. What's the unique theme that came out? Ubuntu. What is Ubuntu? Ubuntu means I am because we are. South African leaders have said that we need a collaborative action against climate change. That was one. Second, now US will host G20 in 26. G20 is a very important forum. Why is it so important? Established in 1999 during Asian financial crisis, today G20 represents 85% of global GDP, 75% of global trade and 2/3 of world's population. So G20 is important. Very good, Terukula. Today, for the first time, it's happening in Africa, showing the changing dynamics of the power of Global South. An excellent message. Unfortunately, America boycotted. President Trump is saying South Africa is guilty of crimes against American population settled in South Africa. It's being abused of racial crime. So that's why America boycotted. The new theme that has come is Ubuntu. I am because you are. We all need to collectively work towards making the world a better place. Now next, very important, 131st Amendment was in the news. Why? There was a major controversy. Major controversy. The Union Home Ministry had said that we might pass a bill. We might consider in the winter session of the parliament a bill that may reconsider changing the status of Chandigarh, the Union Territory. That's a shared capital of Haryana and Punjab. Okay, that created a furore in Punjab and Haryana. People were very angry. People said, why are you trying to bring Chandigarh under Article 240? Article 240 is the article under which President can make regulations for certain such union territories that do not have a legislature. Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, Puducherry. When assembly is not there, the president will directly control that. And now, as the people said, the central government is trying to bring Chandigarh under Article 240 to make it completely centrally controlled. That is not good. And people were angry about it. Later, the Home Ministry clarified, no, it is a wrong impression. We are not going to introduce this bill in the winter session of the parliament, so don't worry. Currently, Chandigarh is a union territory, also the capital of Punjab, Haryana, where the governor of Punjab is also the administrator of Chandigarh. So, Article 131, remember, about Chandigarh, the attempt to bring it under Article 240, Amendment 131, later clarified as a myth, that's not going to happen. Okay, so remember in the news, Article 240, Amendment 131. Quickly, the 16th presidential reference. In India, the Indian president can ask the Supreme Court for advisory jurisdiction. If the president wants some clarity about important issues of the constitution, and recently, our president, Ms. Draupadi Murmu, had asked few questions from the Supreme Court regarding, especially a big question, that should there be an upper time limit for the president and the governors of the state to give their approvals and assent to the bill passed by Lok Sabha or state legislature. Okay, that was the 16th presidential reference under Chief Justice of India, who just retired, Justice B.R. Gavai. Yes, and what did the Supreme Court say? Supreme Court said that in the constitution, there is no such mention that there has to be an upper time limit, 1 month, 2 months or 3 months for the governor or the president to give assent or approval to a bill. So therefore, Supreme Court is not going to act like a mentor or a tutor here. And they are not going to override constitution. They will not provide an upper time limit. Yes, it is up to the governor or the president to act in the best interest of elected representatives of the people, and at least in emergency cases, try to give their approval within 1 month or maximum 4 months. They should not delay it for years altogether. The whole controversy had started from Tamil Nadu, where the state complained to the Supreme Court that the governors are acting like the representatives of the central government. They deliberately delay their approvals to the bills. They make a mockery of the law. And that's why the five judge bench say, no, we cannot give a strict timeline, but that also means that it is deemed that the governor should be acting in the best interest of the Indian Constitution. Article 143, Diptesh, very good. That's about the advisory nature of Supreme Court's advisory jurisdiction on the president, which is not binding on the president. I repeat, which is not binding on the president. Thank you, Diptesh Vikash. Now the next one. India has finally witnessed the 53rd Chief Justice of India, who recently took oath. As Justice B.R. Gavai retired, the new Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant, has come as the 53rd Chief Justice, but he will only be in this office until 14 months period. He is retiring in February 2027, and the next Chief Justice is very special because she will be the first Lady Chief Justice of India. Who is she? Please let me know. Who is she? Please let me know. Very good, Sita Rao. Yes, Terukula. Thanks for summarizing. Okay. Who is she? The first Lady Chief Justice in India. 53rd is Justice Suryakant. He will only be there for 14 months. Once he retires on February 2027, who will be the next Chief Justice? Yes, Justice Nagaratna. Very good, Terukula, Vikash and Ravi. The first Lady Chief Justice, Justice Nagaratna. Okay. Now, one more thing before I leave this topic about Justice Suryakant. He has said two very impressive things, very interesting things. One, yesterday, he has mentioned about Article 121 of the Indian Constitution. He has expressed his concern that there is now a new tendency that has come. That every new bench is trying to override the jurisdiction of a previous bench of Supreme Court. It's a negative trend. Under Article 141, we should try to maintain uniformity in the decisions and pronouncements taken by Supreme Court. New benches should not try to overturn the previous judgments because Supreme Court's judgment is binding and mandatory for all the courts across India. Second thing, he also has said that now is high time. There is too much doubt about transparency in the collegium system. So let's try to reinstate the National Judicial Appointment Council system. Let's once again try to do some parliamentary role in appointment of senior judges to the Supreme Court. Okay, it was enacted in 2014 but rejected in 2015 by the Supreme Court completely. It all relates to the 3 judge cases that we have seen. Yes, is that clear to everyone? Okay, Terukula, we are talking about the first Lady Chief Justice. That was Justice Nagaratna. Now once Justice Suryakant retires, we'll have the 54th Chief Justice. All right. Thanks for confirming that. Yes, the first lady will be Justice Nagaratna. Okay. So thank you for that also. Yes, 99th. Very, very good. Constitutional Amendment 2014. NJAC. Rejected in 2015. But now Justice Suryakant says we might need to have it back because we need transparency. Now the Navy of India, Indian Navy had got a new warfare submarine, INS Mahe. It was in the news, INS Mahe. It is called as the Silent Hunter for Indian Navy. What? Silent Hunter. We have spoken about this in the news. It is 80% created in India. Atmanirbhar Bharat. No, Vikash, she was the first lady judge of Supreme Court, not the Chief Justice. Now Justice Nagaratna will be the first Chief Justice. That's something we have to be clear about. Okay? Very good. Yeah. Finally, the 3 judges case. Correct. Now coming back here, INS Mahe, 80% indigenous components, self-defense technology. What is special about it? I told you that day, it's going to be the front line of defense. It will act in shallow coastal waters. That's unique about INS Mahe. It has a special Mahe class anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft. Okay, who created that? It has been created by the Kochi Shipyard Limited. It has special features like combat suit, specially designed for anti-submarine operation in shallow and coastal water. Shallow coastal water. Precisely, it can detect the target, track the target and neutralize subsurface threats. Threats below the surface. Very, very good. Okay, thank you, Vikash. Thank you so much for clarifying. Thank you very much. That was a very kind reminder then. As Vikash says, already there was a lady who has made a milestone. Justice Fatima Bibi, the first judge of Supreme Court. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. And now the CJI first will be Justice Nagaratna. So these comments really keep enriching us. Thanks a ton about that, my dear. Okay, thank you. Now next one is Ethiopia, the Haile Gabi volcano. What was that? Recently, in the Afar region of Ethiopia, that's known for its highly fluid basaltic lava and a highly tectonically sensitive zone. After about 12,000 years, a dormant volcano called Haile Gabi suddenly erupted. Okay, and as it spew up so much volcanic ash, the ash also spread across the Red Sea, Arabian Peninsula, Iran, Yemen, and ultimately into Pakistan and India. All the aircrafts were given a warning, and they were given a warning that do not fly in the dangerous routes because the volcanic ash is very corrosive. It's very coarse. It can get clogged up in the airplane engine and then eventually destroy the engine. That was in the news. Remember, it was a shield volcano. I repeat, it was a shield volcano. What is special about the shield volcano? Unlike stratovolcanoes that create a very massive eruption, shield volcanoes are almost flat. So therefore, their eruptions are also very subtle. They are very delicate. So they are usually characterized by effusive eruptions, and they have gentle sloping volcanoes, quite like that. Do remember, these volcanoes have a wide shield-like shape. That's why they are called shield volcanoes. Do remember that. Some other examples of shield volcanoes, dangerous ones, Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea in Hawaii, one of the most large volcanoes across the world. Now the next one quickly, S400. We all know in India the S400, very good Diptesh, S400 is also called as Sudarshan Chakra. Okay, a key defense technology, S400 missile system, a long range surface to air missile developed in Russia, and India calls it Sudarshan Chakra. It's like creating an impenetrable wall against India's defense infrastructure. It is sophisticated with topmost radar, long-range missile, high flexibility, adaptability, networking capacity. And now what is the government saying? After S400, we are also waiting for more supply of S400 plus. We are also looking at S500 in the future. President Putin is now going to visit India, and probably the defense cooperation will further only increase. Thank you so much. That's kind of you, Dharm. Next one, quickly coming from Assam. Assam has introduced the prohibition of polygamy bill. That means an individual cannot marry more than once. If the previous spouse is alive, they cannot marry more than once. If they do, then there is a punishment of up to 7 years in jail and fine that the government decides. But if it's a repeated offense, then the punishment may also increase and the fine might also go up. Okay. What is polygamy? Marrying more people when you already have an existing spouse without a divorce or without any formal separation. So the bill seeks to penalize that. Ultimately, somewhere it's relating to Uniform Civil Code also. Article 44. Uttarakhand, the first state to officially implement that. Now Assam is almost towing that line. Yes, there are certain exceptions. Now all those people who are covered under the 6th schedule, they will be given exemption here. And all the scheduled tribes under Article 342 will also be given exemption. Now do remember, I think Vikash and Diptesh will agree to me, that Assam is a part of the AMTM state. Assam, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. All the states where you have Schedule 6 in operation. Schedule 6, special provisions made for whom? For whom? Special provisions made in the form of autonomous district council for specific tribal communities. So very well said that. Okay. So very well said there. Is that clear? Exemption for tribal. Very good. That's so kind of you, Dharam. I'm so happy that I've already engaged with you earlier. Let's look forward to more exciting sessions. Yes. Very good, Priyanshu. Absolutely, Vikash. Very good, Diptesh. Okay. So now I think we are done. Yes, finally we are done with all the topics. I know it was a long session. You must be tired, but then thank you so much for being with me throughout. Now I have 5 practice questions here. If you want, if your time permits, I can take them up, or otherwise I can just bring them and add them to the Hindu if I have already taken too much time. Because we did the whole month revision, so naturally it was a time-taking exercise. Very good, Vikash. ADC versus TAC. Autonomous District Council Schedule 6 versus Schedule 5. Tribal Autonomous Council. You should know the difference between them. Beautiful. Yes, Terukula, absolutely. Yes, Ravi. Goa also comes in the picture here. Under Portuguese rule for a very long time. Okay, and eventually it does have its own uniform civil code. In the mainland India, ultimately it's about Uttarakhand. Now, before I could ask, answers are already coming, so I have to take the question. Okay. Consider the following statements regarding Senkaku Island. 1. They are located in South China and are claimed by China, Japan and Taiwan. 2. US has stated that its security treaty with Japan applies to these islands. And 3. They are believed to have strategic importance due to potential oil and natural gas reserves. So, which is the right answer there? Diptesh, Vikash, Sitaram, Eric, Ravi, Kojumba, already answering. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Anoop. Lots of blessings and love to you. That's very kind of you, my dear. I wish I could do that. Priyanshu, Anoop, Fulith and Ujef. Everyone says it's B. Okay. So, majority says it's B. It should be B. It is B. Well done. Congratulations. It is B. Here's your Senkaku. Here's your Taiwan. Here was Yonaguni somewhere. Here is Japan and there comes China. So it is not in South China but East China Sea. Although yes, they are claimed jointly by China, Japan and Taiwan. Yes, US does supply a lot of protection to Japan as well as Taiwan. America is behind the defense supply of Taiwan. In fact, America tells Taiwan that please upgrade your military to 5% of GDP. Very well answered. Second, consider the following statements regarding the Haley Gubby volcano in the news. 1. It's a shield volcano located in Afar Depression, one of the most tectonically active rift zones in the world. 2. The volcano is associated with divergent boundary where the African plate is undergoing a rifting. And 3. The recent eruption released a low altitude ash plume affecting ground level visibility in India. Think carefully. Think carefully, it's slightly tricky. But for the previous one, very well answered. Priyanshu, Terukula, Shikha, Ujef as well. For this one, what are the answers? Okay. Vikash, Terukula, Priyanshu, Diptesh are already answering. Who else is answering? Let's see. Let's break it down quickly. Sitaram is answering. First statement is correct. Absolutely correct. That means B cannot be the answer. Second is correct. Absolutely correct. That's what we discussed. Third is correct. Did it create a low altitude ash fume? If it was a low altitude ash fume, then how come the flights were getting disrupted? How come the Indian government said do not fly in the dangerous zone? Otherwise it will become problematic. The volcanic ash and material can damage the plane engines. No, it actually went very, very upwards in the atmosphere. It was a massive eruption. Just that through the air all the dust had spread India. It did impact India's climatic condition but not on the ground level. Not on the ground level, okay? So therefore, 3 is not valid, yes? About 15 kilometer high, imagine. So Anoop, Diptesh, Fulith, Pushpa, Kojumba, Shikha, Vikash, absolutely correct. Very well done. It's not low altitude. A should be the right answer. Okay, yes, A is the right answer. Very good. Only 5 questions are there. Third, which with reference to surrogacy rules 2021, look at the following statements. 1. The Act allows only altruistic surrogacy and prohibits commercial surrogacy in India. 2. The surrogate mother must be a married woman with at least one biological child and can act as a surrogate, and she can act. Yes, she can act as a surrogate more than once with the approval of medical board. And 3. The Act mandates that couple must be Indian nationals. They must not have any surviving biological or surrogate child, adopted child. 3. The Act allows abortion of the surrogate embryo only with written permission of the surrogate mother and approval of competent medical authority. Which of these will be correct? Sitaram says that the answer should be C. Okay, this is a confusing one. Very good, Diptesh. Thank you for clarifying that for us. The jet stream brought the pollution into India. Brilliant explanation. Okay, so Anup, Terukula, Diptesh, Ujef, Sitaram, Ravi, they've all answered. What could be the right answer? Let's consider. First is absolutely correct. India only allows altruistic surrogacy, not commercial. Okay. Second, she has to be married and have at least one child is correct. And she can act as a surrogate more than twice. Can she act as a surrogate more than twice? Or more than once? She can't. In order to protect women from sexual abuse and trafficking, the law also says she has to be married with one kid and she cannot become a surrogate again and again. That's not allowed. Third, it only allows couples to be Indian citizens and not have an existing child is correct. The Act permits the abortion only in the case of a written consent, correct. Only 3 will be the right answer. Slightly confusing, but yes, 3 statements are correct. Okay? It's not correct, the second one. She cannot be a surrogate multiple times, otherwise people will make it a profitable business. Now, if you want to see, we'll make a Telegram group. It's already in the making now. I'll send you documentary links. See how it is becoming a common business in countries like Vietnam, Philippines, Mexico, Brazil. Westerners come, do multiple surrogacies, and these young women to earn money are also dying horribly. Okay, so that's very interesting. Now, the second last question. Okay, Eric. Second last question. With reference to Aditya L1 mission and recent observation, look at the following statements. 1. The visible emission line coronagraph on board Aditya L1 has enabled the world's first visible light spectroscopic observation of coronal mass ejection. 2. Aditya L1 operates from sun-synchronous polar orbit. Listen carefully. Aditya L1 is operating from sun-synchronous polar orbit to continuously monitor solar activity. 3. One of the major objectives is to study coronal heating and solar wind acceleration. Which of these are valid then? Which of these are valid? A, B, C or D? Diptesh, Sitaram, Fulit, Priyamvada, Himalaya, Pushpa, Kojumba, Eric. They're all answering. Confusing? Vikash has answered also. Slightly confusing? Slightly confusing. First is correct. Yes, it should be correct. 3 is correct. Should be correct. Yes. What about second one? Is it correct? Does it operate from sun-synchronous polar orbit? Is it? Is that the case? And I always thought it's operating from the Lagrange point. Somewhere in between the sun and the earth. At the null gravity point, everybody explained to me that. So what should be the answer then? Only 1 and 3, right? Why? Because first is absolutely valid. This is the first ever visible light spectroscopic observation. It's a major milestone. Second, it is placed in a halo orbit. What orbit? In a halo orbit. That is around the Lagrange point L1, located 1.5 million kilometers from the earth, to get 24/7 non-stop sun's view. So that's why second is not correct. Lagrange point. Beautiful. Very good. Last question and we are done. Brilliant performance, brilliant patience, brilliant learning initiative. Absolutely a big round of applause to each of my dearest aspirants. I'll make sure you are clarifying prelims for sure, because with this level of current affairs dedication, nothing can stop us. Brilliant performance. Last one. With reference to Ambaji marble, in the news, consider the following statements. 1. Ambaji marble is known for its pristine white appearance with natural grey or beige veining stripes and has recently received a GI tag. 2. Marble is a metamorphic rock formed when limestone undergoes recrystallization under heat and pressure, and it is consisting of calcite mainly, CaCO3. 3. The formation of marble can happen through both regional metamorphism and convergent plate boundaries, as well as contact metamorphism near magma bodies. So, the third statement is complex geography concept. It means metamorphosis of rock can happen in both the conditions. 1. Either it happens due to compression because of heat and pressure, or it can happen if the magma actually starts touching the body of surfaces. Which of these are valid? Everyone says answer is B. First is correct, second is also correct, 100%. So A cannot be correct. Okay, then which means C also cannot be correct. But between B and C, what is B and D? What's the right answer? Some confusions? Very well performed. Fulit, Priyamvada, Ujef, Himalaya, Kojumba, Suresh, Vikash, Diptesh, Sitaram, Terukula, Priyanshu, Anup. Very good. Yes, absolutely. D is the right answer. All are correct. Very, very good. A huge round of applause to your patience, performance and hard work. Honestly saying, with this level of dedication, God bless each one of you. My support is there with you, and definitely we are going to ace the UPSC exam. Nothing stops us. Brilliantly done. Very good participation. A big thank you to each one of you, my dear. Big gratitude from my side. Yes, the last statement is correct. Marbles can happen as metamorphic rocks due to two kind of situations. One is called local metamorphism, where you experience too much heat and pressure and metamorphosis is happening. Calcites are formed. Second, when hot magma, lava or hot particle, it starts heating up the nearby limestone, then also it experiences, because of high temperature, some kind of metamorphosis, creating marble-like structure. All are correct. So very well done. I take your leave for the session now. Just a quick reminder about the sales program. If this is the hard work that you're doing, so if you are writing the exam in 2027, allow StudyIQ to be a part of your journey. Allow me to consistently be there with you. You can enroll for a batch that's starting on 9th of December. Only by using the code SPLIVE. Now, you won't believe when I say the price is 12,999 for a course that will support you for 16 months plus. Prelims, mains, interview guidance covered. All notes, books will be given by us. All classroom material, live lectures given by us. One-on-one mentorship also there. Hindi, English, bilingual, all provided. For those who are writing in 28, a similar good offer, that's a little far away though. 18 months plus coaching guidance, 31,999. Use code SPLIVE. Batch starts 9th December. Entire from prelims to interview included here. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much, each one of you. Thank you, Kojumba, for that beautiful and cutest expression there. Absolutely love each one of you. See you tomorrow for the Hindu class. God bless you. Bye-bye. Beautiful performance. Bye Vikash, Kojumba. Bye Neelam. Bye Diptesh. Bye Ujef. Bye Sitaram. Pushpa, Terukula, Fulit. Okay. Bye Himalaya there. Suresh. And who else? Priyamvada, Priyanshu, Anup. Any other student whom I am missing out upon? Shikha, Ravi. Kojumba I spoke to. And who else? Ravi I said. Shikha I said. Eric was there. And who else? Anybody else am I missing out on? Pushpa. Okay, Chandan Kumar. Okay, Chandan was there. He was also participating in a lovely way. Levino was there after a long time. Eric, of course, was there. Okay, so I think, yes, that's it. Okay, then I'm taking your leave. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow for the Hindu. Okay, God bless each one of you. Bye-bye then. Bye, Mukesh. Bye, Dishank. Bye-bye. Thank you.